Have you ever wondered where the problems in the world today would exist if we had deeper connection to ourselves, others, and the environment and acted from that place? Welcome to the Conscious Action Podcast with your host, Brian Berneman, who believes that connection is the key to taking conscious action as individuals and creating a better world. We are here to raise awareness and inspire meaningful action by sharing stories, knowledge, and conversations with thought leaders and change makers. From sustainability to well-being and everything related to conscious living, our mission is to empower you to be the change that you want to see in the world. Welcome to a new episode of the Conscious Action Podcast. I am Brian Berneman, your host. And today I wanted to explore something that has been coming up lately with a lot of my clients, which is the fact that healing is not just when pain or suffering stops. So I wanted to explore healing, and I wanted to understand as well and explore here the role that pain and suffering has in our path. Before we do that, just a reminder. Take one deep breath. Allow yourself to arrive, to be here, to be present as you are listening or watching this episode. So a lot of times we measure healing by the disappearance of pain. But one of the biggest things is that pain or suffering is a messenger. What happens when we are healing is that the underlying cycles, emotional, behavioral, energetic, ancestral patterns, that is what begins to shift. That is where we start to see a difference in our lives. So it's not just that when we are healing, the symptoms just go away, that we are happy all of the time, that there's a moment that we are done healing. When we go through the process of healing with those perspectives, we might actually never get there. That doesn't mean that symptoms cannot go away. A lot of times they do once we actually work with what's underneath. That doesn't mean that we can't be happy. We can be happy. That doesn't mean that certain aspects of it we can't move past. But a lot of times it's about how we are going into the space, and we need to understand what is real, what's not, what can happen, what cannot happen. So when we see pain or suffering as signaling, as a sign that there is something that isn't okay, well, that we haven't seen, that we haven't given ourselves the permission to be with, we can start to do that. We need to start seeing pain not as the enemy. We need to start seeing pain as what wants to be seen, what wants to be heard, what wants to be transformed, what wants to be explored. So we need to understand a lot of times that we are carrying so much. And there's so many different patterns that we need to explore, both in our body, our mind, our relationships, our spirit, our energies. A lot of times in the body, we can see somatic imprints or tension in the body or dysregulation of the nervous system. With more of a mental perspective, emotional perspective, we can have different patterns of negative self-talk or loops that we are stuck in, or avoiding different types of behavior we can have based on the things that came before this life and ancestral patterns. We can have a lot of inherited beliefs, a lot of different roles that we're playing, a lot of unresolved trauma from what came before. We might have, from an energetic perspective, different blockages in our system or fragmentation, or we can have some stuckness in the subtle body energy system. So we need to explore all of these different ways to understand, we are all of that. I see this a lot with some of the different approaches that I bring into my work that I explored with family constellation or ancestral healing to be able to identify, heal, process, and then release a lot of these uncreated patterns through the body or somatic practices. We use that to rewire the physical and emotional response cycles. Through mindfulness, meditation, we bring awareness to the present moment and to understanding how to have a choice in how we are in the present moment when something happens, moving from reacting to responding. When I work with energy healing as an example, we clear and realign our system. So there's so many different ways to explore healing. And healing happens when we stop repeating. Again, it's not about when there's no more pain or suffering. In the Buddhist tradition, that is part of the experience. Our experience in what in the Buddhist tradition is called samsara, this reality that we live in, there is suffering. That is one of the most important truths that Buddha taught. There is suffering. As well, there's a way out of suffering. That's also really important. There is suffering. So we need to understand that even if there's suffering, even if there's pain, even if there's challenges, we can still be in the process of healing. Because healing, a lot of times, it's not linear. It doesn't feel great all of the time. It can be messy, it can be tender, it can be painful before clarity comes or more insights come. There can be grief or disorientation. There can be a loss of identity or the ego. And that is part of understanding. There's something that is changing, something that is deeper that is actually taking place. And a lot of times I tell this to my clients. When we go on the path of healing, a lot of times we feel more, or we feel more suffering or more pain at first, because suddenly we become more aware of everything that we have been repressing, everything that we haven't wanted to see. So sometimes it might feel worse than better in the process. Eventually we realize, and this eventually can be like, this is non-linear again. This eventually can be 1 day, 1 week, 1 year, 10 years. We don't know. In the process of healing, in our own journey, we will go to this, okay, now I'm feeling more. I'm feeling all of the depth of experience and all of things that I didn't want to see, to them becoming more lighter or feeling lighter, feeling more calm, feeling more connected. So I invite you to see and to ask yourself, what are you still repeating? Even if the pain seems to be gone, even if there's no more suffering in something, what are you still repeating? And what are you willing to let go of, even the things that are familiar? Just exploring those questions allows you to see sometimes that we might still be repeating things even though we healed the underlying reason why that is there. So again, a lot of different ways of exploring this, and I keep on telling everyone, there's no one way, there's no one methodology that is the cure for everything. We need to go on our own journey and explore what works for us. For me, a part of it was returning to my body, so somatic work, understanding how to feel, how to sense, and not just being in my mind, just analyzing and understanding, categorizing and judging everything. It was about, can I be present in my body, and can I feel the energy as it moves? Through more of the meditation or the Buddhist teachings that I explored, there was a lot of work with the mind, with understanding my thinking, self-talk, stress. That also through neuroscience. When I did my postgrad in neuroscience, that helped a lot of understanding that. Through sound healing, and energy healing that helped a lot for creating space and allowing different vibrations and frequencies to emerge and to allow my body to come back to a place of coherence and alignment. Through breathing or breath work, allowing my body to shift a lot and to be more present. This helped me a lot as well, and with all of the other things, how to move from reacting to responding. Through constellation work, it was bringing a lot of these unconscious inherited beliefs, hidden patterns, and a lot of unconscious loyalty that I have towards those that came before. So, then there's the integration part. Bringing it all into daily life, bringing new habits, new ways, new conscious perspectives into how we're living, how we're speaking, how we are present in the space. When we allow ourselves to choose presence over our patterns again and again and again, that is when healing takes place. So I invite you to see that pain and suffering are part of our experience, and they will keep on visiting you again. When there's more awareness, we don't have to answer the door in the same way. We can choose something different. That is the process of healing. The returning to our wholeness, which is how I speak usually about healing, is that. So again, it's not that pain will never be there again. Challenges won't ever be there again. They will be there in different ways or in similar ways. And it's up to us to go and heal and then learn a lot of things to create something new. So I invite you to see and to ask again these questions for yourself. What are the recurring patterns that you're being asked to heal, to change? What are some of the areas that perhaps you haven't yet explored, or the perspectives or aspects of yourself that you haven't yet shared with your experience to help you expand, change, heal? Let me know. As always, I would love to know. How have you been exploring this? How has your relationship with pain been, or with your patterns as a way of healing? If you need more support with this, as I mentioned, I work with a lot of different modalities. You can check on the links on my website how to do that. The invitation here is to choose awareness, to choose healing, to choose to meet yourself, your experience, your patterns, and your pain with presence and compassion. And taking responsibility and courage to go and meet yourself where you are now. So as always, leave a comment wherever it is that you're finding this episode. I would love to know what resonated with you, what didn't, what have you already been exploring. And as always, thank you for being there, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!
What did you like the most about this episode? Take a moment to think about what change you can make in your life today.
Share your conscious action on social media using #ConsciousAction and tagging @ConsciousActionNZ so we can celebrate your impact on the world and create a ripple effect.
One easy action we would love for you to take right now is to share, like, and subscribe to this podcast. This will help us get these messages out into the world and inspire more people to take conscious action in their own lives, contributing to the better world we hope for.